Now, this next generation has everything at their fingertips to make it happen. They can learn and work on skills overnight, watching clips, watching Instagram, watching YouTube, and I love it. I think it's awesome. Now, everything that Draymond says will always, technically be put to the extreme. That's just how he is. Soft as hell, that is very heavy. But I do think that it is fair to point out that the game has changed, whether it is the officiating that now benefits the shooter, to drive more points and more eyeballs to the game. Look at the number of offenses exploding this year. It's harder to be a defensive player now than ever before, and I think that's what he's speaking to. And I don't want that to get lost in the sauce by Draymond translation. But I guarantee you this, we may be buddy-buddy nowadays on the internet when it comes to athletes, but when it comes to being great, young players are not waiting, and that's not just in basketball, that's throughout sports. They're coming for everybody right now.
Chiney, I hear what you're saying about with Draymond and where he's coming from, but let me get this straight. He has a problem with younger players not engaging with him in trash talking. That's where the soft as hell comment is coming from in Draymond Green, that he's trying to get in the guy's grill, trying to use Jedi mind tricks, and the young guys are not buying it. That's what he's saying by soft as hell. Draymond, dude, you're 31 years of age. You're not that much older than the soft as hell dudes that you've been able to talk about on the Kevin Durant podcast. Here's the deal with Draymond Green. He is not stupid. He is very calculating. He is very smart. Remember, this is the same guy that will hold the chip as long as he's in the NBA, because he was Big Ten Player of the Year, first-team All-American, and he was not drafted as high as he thought he should have been drafted in the first round. So we understand where that chip is coming from, and that has been a hallmark of his success, being a three-time NBA champion. But Draymond Green right now does not want to be that old dude in the park where you can't keep with the young squires. They're leaving you behind. And the only way you can try to level the playing field is to use these kind of mind tricks to say, hey, you're not that good, or back in my day, and all that stuff. Draymond is very calculating. This is his way of making sure that in a pace and space NBA, that a guy like him is not going to be legislated out of the league, that the referees won't give too much leeway for other people and not for Draymond Green being an outstanding defender. So Draymond, brother, I get it. I understand it. But we know where this game is headed. You don't want those young dudes to continue to own you, and now you're trying to do this to level the playing field by using these kind of mind crime tricks, thinking that the NBA and the referees and younger dudes are going to fall into that rabbit hole with you.
Listen, I don't think this is foul. Is it a bit extra? Sure. But for the most part, I feel like it's misplaced anger, honestly, because older generations, and I can't believe that Draymond is trying to call him older generation or anything, but older generations always have something to say about the younger cats coming up. And right now, Draymond almost sounds like an old man yelling at the clouds. Like, he just said talent is being displayed every night. So what's really the issue? Are guys really soft because they're putting up points? A lot of guys are in the MVP conversation. I think Draymond is just somebody who, like you guys touched on it, he likes that. He wants to find a competitive edge. Like, he wants to get in your head. He wants to get you thinking about other things. But what's happening? These guys aren't partaking in this trash talking thing, and that's what's bothering him. Like, that to me sounds a little weird. But I think, there are dudes out there that think NFL jersey swapping. What are we doing? We should be, those players shouldn't be fraternizing after the game. If you lose, you shouldn't be smiling. Don't be holding up another guy's jersey. But that's just how things go. I did find it interesting that a former NFL receiver, Steve Smith, had once said guys would swap jerseys with him, and it actually used to mess with him psychologically, because once they compliment him, said, I really love your game, I really look up to you, he didn't go at them as hard at times, and he was like, whoa, that's tripping with me. I feel like this is more about Draymond not being able to do what he does up here with some of these guys than it is about the state of the league.
But I would say it is a little bit personal, and maybe I relate because I'm currently a post player, and so I've seen the way things have changed, especially for the guards, and it's hard to defend out there. And I think a lot of people are critical of Draymond Green and his value in his game, and so he might be a little sensitive to that. But he's talking to Kevin Durant, and this is just how players talk. And he's right, trash talk is different now. Before, that was just the way the game goes. That was the #1 language. Now everyone has their own unique versions of entitlement. And it's right. When you walk in the league with awareness and attention, with a social media following, you have that entitlement like I've already arrived, and that's a change. That's a shift that we're all dealing with. And I know we're saying like he sounds old, but like I think he's on the other side of 30. I'm not, like, I'm pretty close. I'm 29. And I have younger sisters that are, 25 and 23. And there is a big difference and a gap when it comes to what they take personally and where the game sort of has evolved. I mean, super skilled players. But yeah, maybe if we bring back the old school, like, hey, you ain't good, you soft. People are like, why did that person attack me? And then it's all over social media, and then it gets blown out of proportion, not knowing that that's just a part of the game. That's how the game has forever been. So I sort of relate to Draymond's perspective, maybe as a big, knowing that bigs don't necessarily get love. Not too long ago, I talked to Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert was saying y'all, I'm out here trying to be another defensive player of the year, but everyone wants to talk about the game-winning shots, right? But not the game-winning stops. It just is a different way that defensive players are having to adapt. And while, we all agree that Draymond, he says things to the extreme, there are, at times, truths to what he is saying.
It may be true to what he's saying, Shanae. I hear what you're saying about that, but at a certain point, it becomes white noise to people. And if anybody should know that, it should be a Draymond Green. I get what he's trying to put out there, trying to put that message out there for older players when it comes to him. But he also has to realize it's not going to end well because the Devin Bookers of the world, the Donovan Mitchells of the world, the Luka Doncics of the world, those dudes are not soft as young guys. And the last thing they want to do is have a guy like Draymond Green, who's not on their level, think he can bring them down to his level. So, yeah, he can try all this stuff, but then Luka Doncic put a 31 burger in your face, and there's only so much conversation that you're going to be able to have.
I don't think he's saying they're soft. Not those guys. Those guys are future stars. It's probably
who's he talking about?
Just the other guys. Other guys.
Well, who's he talking about then? Who are these soft as hell younger guys that he's not naming?
Regardless of who he's talking about, there is one thing that we do know. Draymond, he likes to speak his mind.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.